Okay, so once the stamps are created, Bluebeam has the ability to create stamps rather quickly as a process, right? So what I'm gonna show you here is a basic step of what we do for how we stamp it, right? So when I go to File, Create a New, for example, I'm just gonna use a blank 8.5 by 11, and then so with 8.5 by 11 here, I will go to markup portion. There is a command line called stamp here. Now this is something that happens when your settings are like what I meant by that is you're under preferences. You have this classic menu checked. Then typically what happens is people get these things right here. So these are the standard default menu that and under markup, here's your stamp. Okay, so it's a different way to access it. My preference has been that I go to preference and then make this classic menu. So typically instead of icons, I will have a drop down. Okay, so I go to markup and go to stamp, and this is where you can change your stamp folder. Like here, to change the stamp folder, then it's a kind of tedious process in a way that I have to go here, and then I have to go to Gensler Drive, then go to CAD in our present location, go to Seals and PDF Seals here, and this is where the stamps are, right? Even though they are not showing here, that's where it is. So I'm gonna go select folder. Correct. So we will address that issue. So by doing that, what happens is now I get all the stamps that I need, right? So I'm gonna here Eric, so I'm gonna go stamp that, and then it stamps the way I was expecting it to stamp, like that. It did not, because this should not have date. This is the date that we were talking about earlier. So when I go back here, I'm gonna go insert blank page, and let's just add a couple of blank page. Then the idea is you select that stamp, you right click on it, and you apply to all pages. And wherever you apply, that would be the exact same location, given it's the same kind of PDF size. Right? Well, there are documents where PDF size changes, then you may apply and then go to those odd PDFs and remove them or relocate them. Like you can grab it and relocate wherever you need to be doing that for that particular instance. Okay. So that's the typical process that we do. Now by doing that, like you said, we lost the ability to kind of go back, and then now you have to go back and change stamp. And by default, content, Bluebeam, um, resources, stamp is what Gensler uses for submittals and whatnot. So I'm gonna go select that folder. Now all of a sudden, my stamp, which is also this one here, comes back to your received submittals and whatnot, right? So to kind of make this like a process go away, I mean, you still have the default, and I wish that can be a part of a tool chest, because profiles back here is a way to store some of the tool chest as a part of your default rollout. Okay, there had been a perfectly valid reason that if Michael Concanon, who maintains Bluebeam, has thought about this and make a Gensler Pro, when that Gensler Pro profile opens up, that it was a part of this tool chest right here that says stamp for all the quality control, right? There are Gensler symbols, there are Gensler graphics, but stamp we still have to go through there. So I wish there was a Gensler stamp here. Then you do not have to go and change it, and you could have permanently make that to Dallas series. Okay, that was the thought. So I just wanted to kind of propose our own ways of doing, and that proposing our own way of doing required me to create a profile for Gensler Dallas. Okay, when I click on it, so I can switch back and forth. You can see. Then go to the tool chest, and this is where I added Dell, Eric, Rick, and Thomas Shelton as our on top of all the Gensler. So what I did is I took the Gensler Pro as a profile and added these seals for ourselves. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna show you how it's made. So first of all, you will start with any standard profile, right? Your profile is nothing but a file called, so I go to my seals here, PDF seals, and there's your Bluebeam toolset. It's a BPX file that is a basically Bluebeam profile file for you. Okay, this is stored. This can be now again with the menu drop down. This cannot be done with the icons. Okay, this is with the menu system drop down. I have an ability to go to view profiles and actually manage profiles. Okay, inside of manage profiles here, I can import and export. Okay, so the idea is I make changes to my profile that I've started with. In my case, Gensler Pro is what I started with, and then I modified my profile, and I was able to, like, let's say this is Gensler Dallas here. That's the one I created. I have an ability to export. Okay, when I export it into that particular folder that I showed you, which lives here. Okay. But back here, your location for the Bluebeam to pull the profile every time you start Bluebeam is this location. From White had a different location. So if you click on this default portion, it will take you to the place where you can modify your changes. Okay, you can always come back and load what was given to you. Okay, but you can also customize yourself through that thing. So one of the requirement for using these seals back here is the fact that you need to go here and change this to default. Okay, once you default, then this is me right here with the app data roaming Bluebeam software. So in the future, what happens is if this is the thing that you are storing your things, then Bluebeam will store bunch of other things at that location. So this location becomes very valuable for you. What I mean by that is, let me quickly open a file explorer and paste that path here. Okay, beside the profiles, it also saves some of the kind of like a tool set information right here, right there. And then it also has some of these data files. So this is your file access data, this is your pin file data, and this is your recent file data. What that is not many people understand the importance of this. What that is when you, let me cancel this here, when you go back to your regular Bluebeam here, see, these are your recent activities, right? When your computer gets reformatted, or you get a new computer, or something happens, upgrades, this document, you have an option. Let's say I frequently access this document, for example, right? I can pin it. Okay, when I pin it, then that will not change, right? And then by the fact that this is pinned, I don't have to go file, open, and search for it. I can simply go here and you can have a good, so there's your pin documents right there. So clicking on it opens it. That data of pinning is what gets stored back here. So that's the recent file and pin file. When a profile is changed or your computer gets reformatted, you can make sure these files are backed up, and then once they are backed up, you can always come back and replace it here. Okay, that's the purpose of what I'm gonna what I was showing you. Okay, so that becoming default is a fantastic thing to do, which wasn't the case previously. Back here, then what this individual things are basically tool chests. So when I go to these settings here, it takes you to the manage tool set here, and these are your different tool sets that you can create. Okay, so let's say I want to create a new tool set for whatever purpose, my personal purpose, right? So I'm gonna go add here, okay, and give it a title, so my personal stamp, right? And then this is where you want to save the toolset. Okay, when I click on it, it will take you to your default, which is your user, which is perfectly fine. But for this example, I'm gonna put it on my desktop. Okay, in my other example, what I did is I simply put it that location right there. Okay, so those are the things that you may have to copy paste and do something about it. So I'm gonna go save it here on my desktop. So I'm gonna go call it Robbie Personal, so I can save it there. What is happening here? Hang on. Oh, so because I'm creating a new one, it's for existing, it's a path. So if it's already existing, then you could simply look at that one. So I'm gonna just go create that one, and then this is asking me where I want to save it. So I want to save it on my desktop, and that's where it will save this, right? It created my personal stamp right there. Okay, so with that, now I have some of the stamps. So I'm gonna go change my stamp folder real quick, because I do not have, and this is what you will be doing. You change the stamp, find the location where the stamp would be. So in my case, the stamp is at my U drive, which is my personal drive, which is much more secure than the local one. But back here, I have a signature folder, and I'm going to use that as my stamp. So back here, I will go to markup, stamps, and that's my stamp. So I stamp my signature, right? So once I have this, this becomes a part of my resend tool right there, okay? What I can do then is I can simply drag and drop here to my person, and you have this lock here. Yeah, I'm gonna unlock it. So that little checkbox tells me it's unlocked, and it adds a little stamp for me there. Okay, and then I can delete this one here. I can log this back. Okay, that's it. And then I don't need to worry about. I can go back to my stamp folder to the default, which is content and Bluebeam and resources stamps. So that's what is my default, right? So my stamps are back. But now, because I have my personal stamp, I can simply click here, and that allows me to stamp it. That is what I have been doing for Dell, Eric, and something. Okay. So we can talk about that next. Okay. So that's the BTX file you install, and once this BTX file is created, then this is a part of your profile, right? So then you go to edit or view profiles, manage profile, and you want to export this profile. So what you can do is, I think you can add, okay, and select the name for a new profile. So this will be like Robbie Custom, right? So in your case, I made the Dallas office, and so you really just need to modify that and do OK, and that creates the Robbie Custom. And then Robbie Custom, where did that go? Right here, and I export it out. I export it out to the one that is this guy right here. That's what I exported. Okay. So I am not going to do that. Cancel that, and that includes my personal stamp at that point. Now you can always switch back and forth. Here's my Robbie Custom, so I can want to go to Dance of Dallas, then I can do that, and then you have a little bit of a flexibility built around how you change those stamp location. So that's about it for the tool chest and how you create these stamps here. And when you move them like to the new location, right? You want to move them to the new location. Then what happens is some of these paths that are pointing to this particular location will no longer be valid. Okay, so at that time what you'll do is you'll reopen this all, right? You double click to against the Dallas, then you will be in this location here. Some of these will be missing. Okay, then you will simply remove this. So this is your Gensler set lock right there, and then you will be removing them. The way you remove them is go through here again, and you can simply uncheck these to remove them. Okay, or you can select that and delete them. So once you delete them, and you can import again from the new location where they are saved. So right now it's a DLFS1 Gensler cat seals. You will simply remove and add from the new location. Okay, once that is done, then you will simply go back again to your profile manage and simply save profile. That's all you need to do. Okay, so that's a part where I mean, given the profile is also saved in the new location. Okay, or you can basically go to like document, not document, view profiles, manage profiles. Now that you have already adjusted for those tool chest, you can simply select your profile and export out first to the new location, and then that's what people will install it from. Okay, so as long as this is in the right place and these are pointing to the right folder, you're good. Okay. That's all they do. Okay. So that's the part where the sealing and tool chest works. Now I will show you how the actual data works, the stamping part works. Okay. So let me go ahead and close this Bluebeam. I do not need. So what here is there is a script for Extreme. The way this works is kind of fun. These are all JavaScript. Okay, JavaScript of calling the stamping process, if you would. You have two choices. You can use Acrobat X Pro, and then Acrobat X Pro will allow you to edit the JavaScript, which I'm not sure if it's installed on yours, but I happen to have that installed for me. Or what you can do is go to log into the Bluebeam Extreme. That's why this script for Extreme comes into play. Okay, so I'm gonna go here in JavaScript script here. You have calc field and stamp code, two commands that we need to kind of fill in. Okay, so let me show you how that works. I go to my shared machine. So shared machine is in the shortcut to DLFS1 application shared computers. I have Bluebeam Extreme machine, right? So I go log in there. Okay. So now you know the password. These are these many dots, so you can type that in. Okay. I'm gonna go to OK, and then that will allow you access to the Extreme machine, right? And considering nobody else is working in Extreme, which it will tell you immediately, like if you try to open Extreme and it goes in like a blank Bluebeam session, then you know something is wrong. Okay, so I'm gonna exit for that, close the program. Here's your Bluebeam. Cross your fingers, nobody's working. So nobody's working. What happens is if somebody was actually working, then they would have these would not show up. It just goes blank. Kind of very vocal about how. So I'm gonna go minimize this here, and then the way this works is here you will have access to the form, the form tab right there. Okay, and also you will have access. So let me go ahead and open Eric's. So it says file not found because it was on the desktop. I work on the desktop to work with it, but this one is on KiCad. So I'm gonna open that. So this is here. It doesn't have the code because I don't see some of the things there because we removed it away for California because the date was already there. But this is a New York, but New York doesn't have the seal. So probably this is a good thing that I can go ahead and add that. Let's confirm. So when I go back to my Bluebeam, local Bluebeam, right, I'm gonna go file new. So this is a good example that I can show you how to actually do it for New York would work. So I'll go back here. So if I hover over here, it says California, Texas, preliminary Texas, Arizona, and it just says stamp. Okay, and that's something we will fix as well. So because I had to do this in a rush, somebody was demanding it very quickly, so I had to go through and make it like a viable SNF. That isn't fixed yet, so that's a good opportunity that we can fix it right now. So I'm gonna go say no there and go back to my shared machine. Okay, so this is the document. So I'm gonna go zoom in here a little bit. Each of these PDF has their own properties, and the properties are visible, so we don't need these for the moment here. The properties are visible in this dialog box right here, right? These are the properties. So the title is where I need to match how it reads, okay? So back here, open Bluebeam again, one more time. File, new, custom is fine, and then when I hover, Eric Del Angel dash Texas, right? So if I go back to my thing here, so I'm gonna go Eric Del Angel or L-E E-L dash New York, right? That's what I'm going to do. I do not want anything else there. Subject maybe seal, right? Something. honestly, I do not put anything other than the title there. So that's the property I want in that one, and I'll just simply save it, and it simply replaces that. Okay, so when I did that, let's go back to this one here, and I'm gonna, because I just refreshed it, my hope is that it is not there. So let me go back to Bluebeam again and make sure file new. Okay, and when I hover over here, it reads Eric Dill Angel, New York, right? That's the easiest way of doing that. We don't, and the reason I am closing it is I don't want the same BPX file being modified by the same user on two different, because it's referring to the same file that I'll be updating, and I'm not sure how that actually works. So that's why I'm kind of doing that back and forth. Okay, so that solves my problem here, right? Of that, and then now what I'll do is put the codes in. Okay, the way the code works is, what I typically like to do is open another PDF real quick. So here I have access to this little date field, right? This is a date field, and when I go to the forms, which is I think it's missing here. Yeah, right there, that in the corner there, that's your form icon, and then this is your date, right? So that's the date, and this is your calc field. Okay, so the calc field and the date. Date field is basically a text box where you put your date. It's nothing other than it has a name called date to it. Okay, and this little other thing is also a text box, but not used for anything, right? But what this has in it is a field down here that's called custom calculation field. Okay, when I click on edit, this is the JavaScript that is for the calc portion of it. Okay, and where is this JavaScript live? That JavaScript is the same JavaScript that I showed you in the G drive under CAD seals. That one right there. See that calc field? That code, the code that you hear. So you can always right click and edit, and what you'll do is just simply copy everything from here. Everything. You can do Control A actually, Control C, right? And then that's what goes into that particular field. Okay, so I'm gonna minimize that, and you paste it, you do okay. Okay, so that's that one right there. Now the other stamp code field, so you see there is this calc field and there's a stamp code. The stamp code is the one actually responsible for getting the date. Okay, so the way it works is then you can access through the same dialog box. Okay, you edit here, and there is this thing called global script. Okay, you go to global script and you add. So I've already added a stamp code here, but you add. Okay, and that's what we will do to the other one. So I'm gonna go select that one and select I think control select or shift select. Yeah, shift select, copy them. I copied them to the New York now, and I'm gonna paste them here so that they appear in my forms, right? So that's my text, and that's my, so this is my calc, so I'm gonna simply rename this to call it calc. Actually it's CALC, calc, and then I'm gonna rename this to call it date. That's it, right? So the location of the date is important, where you want the date to be shown, and so you can kind of adjust where you want. The location of this is not important. And then the reason it's kind of hidden is this is a hidden field. Okay, see right there, it says hidden. So that's why when I hit escape, then it doesn't show up for that reason. Okay, so but I need to get the code here, so I'm gonna go down here, and then right now your value is not calculated, so you change to custom calculation field, right? And edit, and nothing there. So I will go back here to, first I'm gonna go edit this stamp code. Okay, so I'm gonna go copy that, Control C, copy that, and then go back to my script here and directly go to global script first. There's nothing, so I'm gonna go add and give it a name, stamp, go to camel case, first word, second word with a capital start, and then simply paste that there. Just do OK. So that gives me the stamp code, do OK. And back here for this code, I'm gonna go back again and go to calculate field, and then Control A, Control C, close that, and then we don't need this here, and I'm gonna go Control paste that and do OK. So what I did is I added a calculation field for that calc and also added a the stamp code for that one, right? So those are the two things you'll do, and simply save this file. So Extreme helped you do those two things. Once I did that, then honestly, because this tool test is already kind of tied to that file, so it's already have all the information you need. So I'm gonna go close this one here. I'm gonna go close this one here too. I do not need Extreme, but because we need to verify something, let's just keep it open. I'm gonna minimize this, go back to Bluebeam, and then repeat the process here, new document, and then so this is error loading because I deleted the other file. So this is my personal stamp that I was showing you, but other thing is still working. Hover over Eric Delangel, click on it, come back here. This is how it's gonna do, and when I click on it, it asks you for the date, and just do OK, and then it will populate. That's all you need to do. Okay, and because this is already set, you don't need to unlock or lock it back. But if you want to add something to this, you unlock it, add, and lock it back again. Okay. That's pretty much summarizes what I typically do for a stamping.